Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about side order. Side order. Today we're talking about side order. So I want to do a review on this DLC, but I wanted to give it some time because obviously the DLC is intended to be very replayable. It's a roguelite. I wanted to kind of give myself some time to replay through it a couple of times, and I want to properly gather my thoughts before doing a full review, but this is basically my impressions so far of the DLC, and I'm planning to do a more detailed review in the future. So basically, if you haven't heard, Side Order is Wave 2 of the Splatoon 3 Expansion Pass DLC, or Splatoon 3, and basically it's a single-player campaign, but it's very different from the previous campaigns in the Splatoon series. Instead of going through a linear level, you're put into a floor, and you have to complete a certain objective to go up to the next floor. So, basically, you go up the tower, completing objectives. The top floor is 430. You can upgrade your character using color chips, which are little upgrades that you get along the way, which can upgrade your weapon from, like, being very weak at the bottom to being basically a Grisco weapon. Basically, you can increase your fire rate, you can increase your damage, you can choose what upgrades you get as you go up the tower, and build up your palette. Basic explanation for this all DLC. I'm not going to go much more into explaining. If you don't know much about the DLC, go check out some videos on it. Nintendo's overview trailer will probably explain it the best. But basically, this mode is structured like a roguelite. Now, roguelikes are games where, I believe, this is my limited knowledge on them, but I believe they're games where when you die, you start over again from the beginning, your character's upgrades are lost, and you have to go through it again and regain your upgrades. But Side Order is more like a roguelite because it's kind of not like a roguelike, because when you die, you go down to the bottom of the tower, sure, but you gain a currency called pearls, which you can use to upgrade your character permanently and make it easier to run up the spire again. No basic explanation of the DLC over. If you don't know what the DLC is, then I'm sorry, but please look into it yourself. I am not good at explaining things. I want to go straight into how I feel about this DLC. Okay, so the first hour or so of the DLC, the first initial tutorial run, felt a little bit like hand-holdy. The tutorial felt a bit slow because I was like, come on, I just want to get into like the proper gameplay of it, but see, the tutorial is great. I love the balance between story and gameplay and how it expanded on the characters. Marina is here, Pearl is here, and I believe their name is pronounced Oct and not Act. So I'm just gonna say it like Oct, but like, you know who I'm referring to. And let's talk about them in a bit because I'm kind of disappointed in how their character was handled. So the gameplay of Side Order is really fun. You go into a floor and there's an objective you have to complete, and most of the floors are really fun. I especially liked the portal ones, where you destroy the portals. The ones where you protect the zone, like Splat Zones, are really fun, but they are a bit hard. The Turbine Tower one is where you guide a tower. That one's a little bit tedious, but it's still fun. And then there's the one where you catch the fleeing foes, the little bicycle fish. I don't like that objective personally. I find it to be really annoying, but it's okay. But yeah, I really like the level design. I feel like they did a really good job on that, and like all the floors feel satisfying to complete. This DLC has genuinely been some of the most fun I've had playing Splatoon. Pearl is now a drone assistant and helps you out. You can glide. Pearl can glide, which is probably the most useful mechanic, because, like, going back to Turf War after playing, Side Order, I'm still trying to double tap B to glide, and then I have to tell myself, oh yeah, gliding isn't in Turf War. Like, it's such a fun mechanic, gliding with the Pearl Drone. Like, once you learn, you can just double tap B to do it. Like, I was always double tapping B. I'm almost disappointed that it isn't in the main game. Like, Culturon, great addition. Stage design, great. Gameplay, amazing. I mean, what is there to hate about this DLC? Okay, we're getting on to the part where I talk about the stuff that I didn't like about this DLC, because there are some things that kind of disappointed me, and I just feel like they could have done so much more with this, and let's just get into it. Okay, so first things first, the bosses are great, the boss designs are great, I love the bosses, except for maybe the parallel canon one where you just fight, like, Agent 4 robot things. I didn't really like that boss, if I'm gonna be honest, but the other two, amazing. Asynchronous Rondo, the spinny, towery one, is my favorite boss now, probably in the whole of Splatoon. And the music in this DLC, like, the boss themes as well. But the music, I have no complaints about the music. Okay, it is the best thing ever, and I want to talk about that later. But let's just get on to the bad stuff. Um, let's get the bad stuff out of the way. There's no real boss variety. There's only 3 of them, which is kind of disappointing to an extent. But I am kind of glad that they all have their own distinct boss themes and they all have their own vibe. Like, I like that. And yeah, like, having less bosses means they got to make those boss themes, and they were able to make them more unique. But at the same time, this is a roguelite, it's designed to be replayed over and over again, and yet the bosses are always the same. And then we have the final boss, which is just always the same. Once you learn its, like, moveset, it is incredibly easy. But I don't know, I just feel like the final boss is it doesn't feel special at all, and it's always the same every single time you climb up the spire. And I just feel like they maybe could have done more with the bosses. And going on the topic of variety, because this is the thing that disappointed me the most about the DLC, the floors. I think I've gone to every single floor now, because all the floors I'm playing on, I'm like, oh, it's this floor. On my first couple of days of playing, it was like, wow, I'm finding these new floors, this is great. Now it's kind of like I'm just playing the same floors over and over again, and I've memorized them, and I'm getting better at them, and, like, trying to, like, speedrun them, but it still kind of feels disappointing that there's not more floors, because it started to get a little bit bland. And trust me, this is my biggest flaw about this DLC, this is my biggest problem with it. The floor variety. There are just not enough floors. There are just not enough floors in this DLC. All the floors are fun, sure, but, like, they're always the same thing, and there's nothing new to them. And also, I feel like there could have been a bit more color chips. Like, I mean, I'm fine with the color chips aren't bad. Once again, my main problem is with the variety of floors, but I still feel like there could have been more color chips. They could have done way more than with that. So yeah, that's my biggest problem with this DLC. There are not enough floors. They could add some in post-launch updates, but I don't know if they will. I don't know what's going on at the Splatoon team. It might take a long time to make new floors, and they have, like, updates to the game. Anyway, the story wasn't the best. I'm gonna be really honest and say the story wasn't the best. It was okay, and it did well, and it was nice. It was cool. I liked it. But I feel like it didn't add a lot to the worlds of Splatoon. It felt like it didn't really mean anything. And the whole threat of, oh no, it's gonna, take everyone's, like, I can't remember what, like, Order said, but it was something to do with, oh, I'm gonna take away everyone's free will and, like, a world of order kind of thing. It just felt really weird, because the Memverse is a virtual, like, reality place, and, like, I thought the whole thing was we're trying to help Marina recover the Memverse from this Order virus. I didn't think it would have an effect on the world itself, but that effect on the world, that thing of, oh no, if we don't do this, then everyone's going to get sucked into the Memverse, it just felt a little bit forced, and it didn't feel very dramatic. It didn't feel like, oh, we're saving the world. It just felt like, oh, we're destroying this boss to save the Memverse. It didn't feel like we're saving the world like Octo expansion did. I feel like that was kind of forced. I didn't like that. I would have preferred it if they just kept it like, oh, we're protecting the members. The plot left me very confused. It's a very confusing plot, but it's still good, I guess. The final boss was nice, but it was kind of boring. I'm gonna admit, it was fun, but I think I just went into it expecting like a big final boss. I honestly went into floor 30 thinking that this would be another tutorial run. I was thinking, oh, they're gonna do a fake out, and then the tower's actually gonna be more than 30 floors. But no, that's actually the end of the tower. I was shocked. I was like, wait, this is the final boss, right? Surely there's more. And the sentence, surely there's more, like, or like, that's it? I said that multiple times while playing this DLC. I think they just got my expectations up too high. I was thinking about Octo expansion, which is one of the best single player campaigns I've played. So yeah, pretty good DLC. But Side Order just didn't hit that for me. I personally prefer Octo expansion all the way. Side Order's gameplay, though, I really liked the gameplay of Side Order since I'm getting kind of tired of the level linear structure of the story modes, and I'm glad that Side Order went away from that and didn't just try to be an Octo Expansion 2.0. But then again, I just feel like, I don't know. So basically, yeah, don't go into this DLC expecting a story campaign. Its story is okay, but the campaign's really short to the point where it's not really a campaign. I kind of see it more of as a side mode. That's completely fine. I'm fine with that. I love the gameplay of Side Order, and I enjoyed it even through completing all the palettes, but... And then I discovered all the flaws. I'm pretty sure I have, because at least I haven't seen a new flaw in a long time. I'm just thinking, I really wish there was just a little bit more. Or at least some upgrades to make the game a bit more difficult, or like different ways to play the game, or like, it just doesn't feel like it was designed to be replayable. And that's weird because they said it was designed to be replayable. Then again, this is just my experience. Someone else could be really enjoying this DLC's replayability. I should probably make it clear that all of this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to argue with me in the comments. If you really love this DLC, then that's really cool. I really like this DLC, but I have my problems with it, and that's what I'm talking about right now. And I know sometimes it's easy to focus on the negative side of things, but I have a lot of positives about this DLC too. I just wanted to make that clear. So the credits roll with the most beautiful credit song ever. I love this credit song. And yeah, the Marina Dev Diaries are good. I really liked the Marina Dev Diaries. I really liked the Pearl and Marina dynamic. That was great. They are so adorable. But then we have Oct or Act or something. Oct. I'm just gonna call them Oct. They are the DJ in Octo expansion, right? This is a piece of like information in the lore that us Splatoon fans have known for a bit. I believe that their DJ name is Deadfish, and they made the music for the Deep Sea Metro. They were sanitized by Kamaboko to make music, and the story is that they wanted to just dedicate themselves to making music, and they decided to get sanitized so they could dedicate themselves fully to music without feeling any emotion. I don't quite get why they did that. So yeah, they're behind the bangers in Octo expansion, the banger level themes, and we saw them here in the elevator, in that trailer. I was freaking out. But I was like, wait, this background character that, by the way, is kind of beloved because no one really knew anything about them, but everyone was so intrigued who this character was, and we wanted to see more of them. And listen, they're in Side Order as an official Splatoon character now. They are being seen in the flesh. They are no longer a background DJ. Like how Harmony went from being a background, like, band artist to being in the general store. It's kind of like that. But with... I'm just going to call them Deadfish now because I honestly do not know how to pronounce their name. I am so sorry. Um, but it just felt like their character was not expanded on. I'm sorry, I feel like their character didn't need to be there. It was a nice addition, but they did not feel important to the plot other than pressing a button on Marina's laptop during the final boss battle, which for some reason saved everything. But basically, yeah, I feel like their character was not developed at all in this DLC. I feel like the information that we did get from the dev diaries was information that was nice to see, but it didn't really tell us a lot. Like, I was expecting their character to be developed a lot more. If they were here, I expected them to be like the center of the show. I, I'm disappointed. They had no time. They're just... Yeah, so basically, I'm disappointed. Their sanitization was not explained. It's not explained how they got to the Memverse. It's not explained why they are in the Memverse. It's not explained to us if they're still sanitized. I believe they appear as a table turf battle. And I'm just thinking, they're on the surface. So they are out of the Deep Sea Metro, and they're alive, and they seem to not be fully sanitized if they're talking normally. It just annoys me how many unanswered questions there are. They introduce a character who's into the DLC who before has been filled with mysteries behind them. Mysteries behind their story that I'm like, finally. I mean, they're going to be, like, explained to us. But no, I guess I got my expectations up a bit too high, but it just really annoys me that they... Anyway, I think Side Order, overall, because I want to wrap this up, Side Order is a great DLC. I think it's worth the price. It's nice. It's a nice little side mode to hop onto when you don't want to play Turf War or Salmon Run. But I feel like Nintendo, you could have done better here. And that hurts to say because I don't know the developers' situations. They probably have other stuff to work on. I feel really mean criticizing the DLC because I can tell a lot of work was put into this, but at the same time, I just feel like, oh, I really wish that this had a bit more to it. Like, but yeah, I'd give Side Order on the scale of 1 to 10 around a 7.8. That hurts to say, but it, yeah, it kind of falls short a little bit with the floor variety, and I don't know, I just feel like more could have been done. But then again, like I said at the beginning, this isn't a full review, this is just me talking about my thoughts about the DLC. Of course, this can change over time, and I'm going to play the DLC a bit more to properly gather my thoughts about it, to put into a more detailed review. But yeah, that's it. Let me know your thoughts on the DLC in the comments, but make sure to keep it civil and not argue. We all have our own opinions over the DLC. Some might enjoy it, some might not. You got to keep that in mind. No one's wrong, no one's, like, you know. But yeah, floor variety really disappointed me. I feel like Act's character could have been developed a lot more. That's really disappointing. And I just feel like more could have been done with this concept. This DLC feels like it's about 90% complete. It was a DLC that could be released, it could be played, it was playable, but it just feels like there could have been more content here. And just feel a bit disappointed. Maybe I got my expectations up too high. Maybe so. But yeah, thank you for watching if you did. I don't know how long this video will be in the end product, but thank you for listening to me going on about my thoughts of this DLC. And my throat really hurts because I got to get water before recording, and I'm not good at speaking for 30 minutes straight. Okay, goodbye.